It's Monday. You know we have to have some fun. We back here dancing and carrying on. It's not fun. We're not doing it while we get work done. Welcome
Wait a
back.
minute, though. Before we get started, I got a problem. Come on, Hampton. I mean, I was Howard University over here. I thought Hampton. I thought the other HU was coming with me.
Don't get me for cutting up now. I try to be reserved, okay? Try to be dignified, as our president would say.
Please.
It's in there, though. Don't play with me. It's in there.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me stop. We gonna cut up today. It's Monday, one-ish, and it's your girls, Dream Do Done, our accountability broadcast back with you every single Monday, one-ish Eastern Standard Time. You have the how-to coach, Tamara Hartley, the Pulpit Chic, Serena Brown Travis, and myself, Dr. Stacie and Grant, Chief Faithpreneur, and welcome to our show. Thank you for being here. Like, we're gearing up for our second anniversary. We have to start planning what we're doing for our second anniversary of the show. So we appreciate all of you that tune in every week to our show. You share your comments. You let us know what we've shared with you that's been helpful on your journey, some of the things that you actually started doing so you can get it done, because Dream Do Done is about the process to progress. So every week we touch on something that's going to help you get to the finish line, which is getting it done. And there are multiple things that we're going to do from time to time, but how do you organize your focus? How do you put yourself in a position that you can measure your success? So our Dream Do Done journal helps you to do that. So remember to go visit Dream Do Done. We'll remind you at the end of the show so that you can get your copy of the Dream Do Done journal, as well as enroll in one of our master classes or engage with us offline so that we can help support you on your journey. But I'm going to turn it over to my co-host for their greetings today. Pulpit Chick, you ready? Sabrina?
Listen, I'm all set to go. We've had a wonderful weekend, a great pre-conversation that I'm excited about. And so I'm just so happy to be here yet another weekend. Even with the coronavirus going on, God is still good and still on the throne. So I'm still so happy to still be here and looking forward to today's show.
Awesome. And the how-to coach, Tamara Hartley.
Hey, now, it has been a great week for me, you know, not only on the football field with my son, because, you know, I'm that mom too. So I'm still on the football field, Stacie. I still got that high schooler who has that Friday night football. So it was a great weekend for that. And I also got some tremendous work done. So I'm happy about that. Just really grinding, staying focused. You know, this coronavirus is wearing on me a little bit, because I was thinking the other day, like, man, we went home and started really doing all this Zoom live back in March, and it is already September, about to be October. And so I'm like, I'm over it, but I'm still in it. So I'm still using the time to stay focused and get some stuff done.
Absolutely. Here for the football. You know, we haven't started up in New York yet with football officially with the kids. And this is my son's senior year. I'm like,
oh, I didn't realize we had a senior and a junior. I just thought your son I thought like last year was the last year. So that's good to know. We're still in there. I'm telling you, it's the one thing that's kind of making his life normal and my life normal, being able to go to the social distance football games, because only 2 people can go out of each family. So
wow. It's so different. And he said that they're going to start, I believe, 7-on-7s, not even full games. Okay. And that won't be until a couple months. So I'm really disappointed. I can't get my yell and my scream on the sideline. Like, what's going on? I'm feeling handicapped. But, we're grateful that he can do hybrid learning. He chose hybrid. It's his senior year. He didn't want to be on, the computer for the whole of his senior year. So we're just praying for their safety, and all the kids in New York City. The public schools went back today. So Son and Holy Ghost, I'm praying for the teachers, the school staff, school safe, like everybody associated, because we had teachers testing positive and no kids were in the building. So I'm very concerned about our public school system here in New York. It's the largest one. And we're really praying for the educators and the principals. So many of my girlfriends are principals, and they're struggling right now. They're stressed. They can't even sleep because they have to worry about all the kids in their building, plus their families and their livelihood. So we're sending our love and prayers to all of you across the country who are in the throes of school. And a lot of people are making guesstimates, though, that we'll be back to complete distance learning before the fall is over, because some folks are getting too lax. So remember, COVID-19 did not go away. So please, please be careful. And my oldest celebrated his birthday on Wednesday. I'm feeling so old. So yeah, it's like, what the what? And I'm countdown to my birthday. Wait a minute, I need some
Stacie reminds me of my daughter. It could be January 1st, and my daughter's like, so on my birthday this year. Now, mind you, she's a November baby, but she's like in January. So for my birthday.
I want to say November.
Yeah. So you coming out.
Yeah, I mean, here's the kicker. Stacie and I both have big birthdays this year. So Stacie is turning the big, if it's okay for me to say it, the big 50, which is major, and I'm turning 40. Now, the difference is my birthday happens to fall on Friday the 13th. So we're not leaving the house.
You are not that superstitious, please.
I just don't want to take any chances. So
oh, your birthday, Lord have mercy. Well,
both of my sisters are fabulous at 50 and fabulous at 40. So
absolutely.
Just can't believe it. I'm like, I had someone when I shared that I was going to turn, because I couldn't even say the words. I'm like, my milestone birthday. They're like, anyway, 50. I'm like, yeah. They're like, no way. I'm like, black don't crack. But I am grateful to be here because so many did make it, right? And, you know, it's a blessing every year, no matter what the age is, just to have another year that you can be with family and loved ones and celebrate. So, you know, I'm going to be totally turned off. I'm trying to give the Virgos their opportunity to ride out their last couple of days. I'm trying. Believe me, stay sorry. Yeah, all right, so let's get to the show today. We have way too much fun at Dream Do Done. And if you're a Debbie Downer, you don't need to watch our show. So you can exit now. But if you want to have fun, if you want to learn and grow at the same time, then this is the broadcast for you. So today's topic, we're talking about looking at some automations that can help you. We're at the point where we're closing out the third quarter of this year, right? It's been crazy. It's been all these things going on, stuff that we can't control. But what we can control is how we use our time. Tamara opened up the show talking about how much she's getting done, even though the reality of having to be locked down on virtual meetings and conferences and work, she's been using the time wisely to set up and position some of the verticals in her business. Serena's been doing the same thing with her restaurant. You know, who knew the blessing of having a takeout restaurant? When you first thought, people were like, oh, you should have a rest, you should this, but God knows what's ahead, and look at the blessing that came. So there's all sorts of things that we can focus on. And I've birthed a whole production studio in COVID. Like, I have a TV network.
A TV network with sound effects.
With sound effects. There we go. So you have to be very open to shifting, adjusting. We've been calling it pivoting, being nimble. Like, don't get stuck in a rut, right? It's the people who sit and they're so resistant to what's going on that they're not going to grow or learn from it once we pass this stage. So this particular blog, we wanted to share some things because some of us use some of this software. And we're like, you know, let's have this conversation with our audience. We're talking about dreaming, doing, and getting it done. And here's one of the things to help you get it done, because what the three of us know, there is no reason to try to do it all yourself or to do it by yourself and not to use technology. We're living in a technically advanced world, so we can't be behind the eight ball when it comes to how we strategize and position ourselves in the marketplace. And it's a learning curve. I'll be the first to admit, the whole super information highway was driving me crazy when it started rolling. I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, what is going on? I could barely answer an email. Now y'all want me to be on additional platforms. You want me to tweet, to pluck, to post, to But if you want to be competitive, if you want to be able to get your product or your service in the marketplace, you have to learn ways to do it. And those who get it to market in an expedient way, as well as freeing up more time so that you can continue to work on your business and not in your business. Automation helps you to do that. So I'm going to let Tamara and Serena just give their thoughts on it. And then we're going to dig into some of what this article is saying and actually talk about some of these particular software solutions. We're not advocating or promoting anyone, because nobody's saying Dreams You've Done a check for promotion. So what we're doing is just highlighting some of the options that are there, and then you can go ahead and make a decision, especially if you're not using anything. If you're still old-fashioned way trying to do everything by yourself, one email click at a time, girl, bye.
Well, I must say I really appreciate today's topic, Stacie, for a couple of reasons. We are all of that generation that we used to do it all ourselves. My father often says you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. And so there are things, services, people, consulting groups, people like my sisters, Stacie and Tamara, who can see things that you cannot see as a business owner. And so as long as you find the right automation service that reflects you, it properly reflects your brand. I remember there was a time that I was working with my father, and we had someone come in and they tried to, get in his voice, but they never listened to all of his material. So they were calling him Lester. They told him, it was a mess. And we were like, oh my goodness, you have to do your research on the talent before you try to do some automation on his behalf. So for Lester Brown and team and associates, we had to say, listen, that's not us, So, but more importantly, we were willing to take the risk. And so I would say, take the risk, find out who you can work with that can help you expand your brand, but also make sure they do their homework on you to know how to get in your voice and get in your pace and the way that you do business to properly reflect who you are in the marketplace.
Absolutely. And before Tamara jumps in, we just want to say good afternoon to Ladrine. What's up, sis? We see you out there. Thank you for supporting as always and being a part of our show. Feel free to jot in your input on this topic as well. But Tamara, over to you.
So you all know that I am a DIYer, do it yourself. I believe in that. As a solopreneur, I kind of had to do that when I first started anyway. But I teach a lot of people in my audience who are overwhelmed by technology how to just use some of this stuff. And you will be amazed that if you know how to do one thing, use one type of software, jumping into something else is usually just as easy, because a lot of things we're going to talk about today, they have a lot of the same features. And so once you do that, that learning curve is there. But once you learn something, it's kind of easier to jump into something and kind of pick up on some other software. So as the how-to coach, this is what I do. I teach people how to do things like this, how to choose that automation and how to actually use it. Like I said, as a solopreneur, sometimes you have to do it yourself and you have to learn these new technologies. So I actually love all of this. And then I am a nerd. Absolutely. I dibble and dabble in a lot of stuff. I test stuff out, which is really good for my clients, because then they don't have to do the trial and error. They just kind of go up with my recommendations, what I think works for their business, and they jump into that. So I've used just about everything on this list. And I do have favorites, but like Stacie said, no one has written a check for Dreams You've Done. But I will definitely share some overview and highlights based upon your business, how you can choose some of these softwares we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely.
Let's get ready to rumble.
I can't help myself.
And you know what? We cannot control our sister. She is excited, but you know what? This is what happens when you own your own studio. You know what I'm saying? When you get your own studio, you can make your own noises.
But let's get into it. Hey, Jason. How you doing, my brother? Thank you for showing up and being here. So, boom, that was a mic drop. Own your own. Okay, because Tyler Perry started somewhere. Shout out to Tyler Perry. It was so wonderful. I didn't watch all of the Emmys, but I happened to catch him getting the governor's award and the speech that he gave. I was like, let me find out. He's doing a little storytelling for the speakers that were out there. I hope you took notes. He did a great job with sharing the story about, his grandma's quilt. So that's something to look up if you didn't see it. But in any event, this particular blog, we were sharing this because it has such great information as far as a comparison. There are much more out there in the world, but 51% of businesses use this technology, right? So these reports are saying that to increase their ability to be profitable in the marketplace, you need to consider some marketing automation. So let's just scroll down. You want to look at ease of use. You want to look at what reporting they can give you. Now, for me, this one is very important, the support. I don't like having to email and text, chat, and talk to robots when I'm working with people. Like, I like to hear a voice. So if that's important to you, you also have to look at the companies, because the real techie ones, they do everything through text chat and support. And I know that's the way of the future, but I like to talk to people. So you have to understand what works for you. And then there are limitations on some, and then there's pricing and scalability. You need to figure out where you are in your business. If it's a allotment you can put on your budget, and then as your budget grows, because you're becoming cash flow positive, you're increasing your profitability, then you can scale. And what capacity do they have to scale? And how well does it integrate with different things that you're doing in your business that you might want to move to e-commerce, or you might want to, do some other things? It allows you a chance and an opportunity to really evaluate this when you're choosing the particular platform. So this is this person's recommendation. This is not the gospel, but I thought it had enough of a mix that we've been exposed to, some of us use, that we can kind of go through and talk about the highlights of them. So you can take a screenshot of this, or actually I'll put the link to the article in our chat, and you can go and check it out for yourself in detail. But all of these automations offer different things that allow you to really create a plan. Because that's the first part, right, Tamara? Wouldn't you say, like, first you have to know the plan? Like, what are you marketing? Are you marketing ice cream, lemonade, or you just don't know what you're talking about?
Yeah, you know what? I just want to back up for 1 second for those of you that don't even know or what automation software is and why we are talking about it when it comes to marketing something. And I just kind of break it down to people like this. All of these things really help you, like Stacie said, develop a plan of how you're going to get your information out to your people, to your tribe, your audience. And these automations make it so that you can schedule these kind of things and you're not just tied to your computer all the time. And I must say, I don't like talking to people as often, so I love the chat support. I love the chat support, particularly if I'm actually in the software working. I don't have time to like say all those things like Tamara, 24, no. And it doesn't recognize my voice anyway. So I love the support, especially if I'm right in it. But these are the softwares that you use when you want to set up how you touch base with your clients on an ongoing basis. When you're talking about automation, you can set these things up on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and just let it roll. And that's really nice because you can't always be on your website 24/7. You can't always be on your social media 24/7. And these are ways that you do not lose customers and you continue to grow them and funnel them throughout your company and your products.
Absolutely. Great point there. And we're just going to scroll through all of them. I'm not familiar with HubSpot, but I've heard a lot of people talking about HubSpot. So this gives you an overview on what you can do for sales software support. It integrates with a variety of platforms, apparently. ManyChat, apparently this works with Facebook Messenger, and you can use SMS. So that's for people who use their phone for everything. Their phone becomes their mini computer. And the way they keep upgrading these phones, it'll soon walk and talk for you. I'm just it's like a million and one things. OmniSend. This is another marketing automation for e-commerce. So for people who are selling products, this gives you a way that you can share it and do it using, once again, SMS technology. Entreport. I have a girlfriend who swears by Entreport. She's been using it for her business. She actually left another company to go to them and has had great success with Entreport. Send and Blue. This is a digital agency that I've heard about recently, and they have advanced features and scoring, but I'm going to rest right here on Active Campaign because Tamara is very familiar with Active Campaign and she can give some additional insight on this particular platform. And then we'll scroll down to some of the others. And Jason is saying that HubSpot is great, that it has a lot of good info. It's really when you do any sort of search, because Google University is large and vast, HubSpot keeps coming up as one of the most, I would say, interactive and good responses. Like people are leaving comments and having great things to say about it. So this is a great, very comprehensive list that we're going through in our show today that lets you do the homework for what works for you, but ultimately choose something. Don't live in the Stone Ages. Choose something and use this time during COVID to be strategic in demos. A lot of these companies give you a free trial, whether it's a 7-day, 30-day, some even do a whole 2-month trial. So you could actually start to figure out what works for you in your business and use your time strategically during this semi-shutdown. But Tamara, what do you have to say about Active Campaign?
So just real quick, I want to go just comment about HubSpot too. HubSpot is one of those places where you can really learn about all of this. And that's one of the reasons I like them, because they're kind of that all-inclusive learning how to do this whole process. They do have their own product, but they also teach you how to use all these products. So that's one of the reasons I like HubSpot and why they come up so much, because it really does have the education behind a lot of this. But Active Campaign, and I've used a ton of different services, a ton of different things. And one of the reasons that I like Active Campaign, you talked about integrations. It really integrates with all of my other products that I use, whether it's, I use Thrive Themes on my website, so this works well with that. I use WordPress on my website. This works well with that. So I really like integrations. And when I look at products, I look and see what works with what. And you can kind of equate that to say, like, if you have a Mac computer, you want, software that works with Mac. If you have a PC, you want software to work with PC. So when I'm talking about integration, I just make sure it works well with all of my other products and all the other things that I'm using. But Active Campaign, I really like it because it's user-friendly. This is what I teach my clients who have no kind of pre-knowledge about this stuff, how to use this. And so that just kind of lets you know the ease for some people to grasp how this works. But I really like it because it's one of the ones that I can really control as well. Some things come with a lot of pieces and parts, and some parts you never use or you don't know how to control it, but you're paying for everything. This really comes with stuff that I know how to use and know how to teach people how to use. But when you're talking about that automation, this keeps track of everybody that signs up for your list. It lets you segment them based upon how you want to, and to send them certain information based upon who they are. So if you have clients that are PC users or clients that are Apple users, I'm just using this as a different thing, and you have products for PC and products for Apple, when they come in, you can segment them on which path they should go and communicate with them in that way. And it's really very easy to set it with Active Campaign, and that's why I like it. But when you really start segmenting your audience and offering different products, let's say you had somebody sign up for a class and you want to send them the next class. So this allows you to do those kind of things without you having to be tied to your laptop or tied to your website 24/7. You just set this stuff up in Active Campaign and allow it to do all that marketing for you. And all you have to do is edit Active Campaign and put everything in there to run as you want it to run. So I really love this because it's user friendly and it's comprehensive. And a lot of these different softwares that are like this are not as user friendly if you don't have some tech background. So that's why I like this one.
That's a great point to what Jason was sharing earlier, that when you're on Google and YouTube, you need to know what you need to know in order for them to work for you, and you really find the information that you have. And he co-signed on Active Campaign, and Zapier, a lot of people use as well. And hey, Nana, appreciate you showing up. Thank you for being here. Good to see you and joining our show today. So let's keep going. Peridot, I'm not as familiar with it. I've heard the name, but this is like a Salesforce automation. A lot of people know about Infusionsoft. They were one of the oldest in this space, and a lot of individuals have used them, and a lot of celebrity recognition has gone to them. Autopilot is a visually appealing, that's what they say, solutions. Marketo is another one. Get Response. I wanted to scroll down here because a lot of people started using Get Response, because Get Response was another one that was priced differently in the marketplace that people could afford, and they could attach to other things. So Get Response was very popular as well because Infusionsoft was at a certain price point. Get Response and Aweber, those things were different. But the bottom line is you have to do your homework.
And just real quick on the price points, some of these recommendations are for big business. When you think about Infusionsoft, it is a different price point. When we talk about a brand that's as global as like a Les Brown brand, because the people, his audience that he reaches is so high. Infusionsoft might be a software that you use for that. And if you're just starting out, you're a solopreneur, you're building your audience in your tribe. And yes, you may get there to that kind of audience, but your price point might not be there yet. So then you would start with an active campaign where you actually start paying based upon the number of people that you have in your tribe right now. So a lot of these are based upon that. So if you have between 0 and 1,000 people, you pay this price point. Once you get to 10,000, you pay this price point. So it grows as you grow. And so that's what makes a lot of these attractive, because like Stacie said, the price point is much lower for solopreneurs or for people just starting out.
Absolutely. And hey, Michelle Antoinette, how you doing? Jason was saying that Get Response is good. You know, I use them for a lot. And Oki visual campaigns. Like, so there's so many things you can put together. Hey, Kia, thank you for joining in. I shared this blog with all of you that are tuning in on our various platforms so that you can use this just as a point of reference. It is not that be all end all. It just happens to have a couple of the most popular ones, but there are so many more that you can utilize. Drip, I've heard people started using this one. And like Tamara said, it depends on what your level of business is, because some of these are not for the brand new emerging solopreneur. You have to build your way to some of this software. And this one is for open source marketing. So it's, as you can see, a very comprehensive article that we are looking at, because it allows you a chance to say, okay, I have to do something differently. I need some additional help. There's no reason for me to do all of this work by myself. Let me automate some things so I can work on more pressing issues like money, like closing the sale, like making sure you're profitable. How about that?
Wait, and just because she said that, because that is it in a nutshell. We are not recommending any of these products if you are not profitable, if you are not making money. You know, my philosophy is do not spend money until you make money. So if someone has a trial or something that you can try out, fine. But these are not the type of softwares that you immediately invest in if you are not selling anything, if you do not have any products and you're not making money yourself. Otherwise, you could just, I mean, if you just want to throw some money at a product, then you need to go to our products and throw that money there. But if you're just trying to throw money at products, then you get into some of these things and you can't use them properly, then you think they don't work for you. You don't know how to work them for you. So do not spend money if you do not have to, and grow into it. Like Stacie said, that is the best thing that you can do. So just because we're talking about this today doesn't mean you go out and get active campaign if you don't need it yet, or if you're not actually marketing anything to anybody and trying to build that tribe.
Absolutely. I wasted thousands of dollars, right? Thousands on campaigns and software that the business wasn't ready for. So they got me.
Me too. Like, let me just tell you, my trial and error was spent on using all these things before I had a product to even sell. Because when I first opened my business, I just like, okay, I need an automation software and I need this. And I had all kind of things. And I started tallying up my money. And I didn't think I was paying that much, because some of them were $19.99, some of them were $14. But when I did a spreadsheet and looked at everything that I was putting out, I said, wow, versus what I was actually selling. And wait a minute, I'm just going to be transparent. When I first started doing this, I was really into the setting up. That was great. I set up all this stuff and got my little stuff going, and I didn't have one product on the market. Not one.
For the day when the product appeared.
No, one product on the market that I could actually say, go to this and buy it. And I realized how that was backward. And so that's one of the things I really work and stress with my clients on is don't do that. Don't put the cart before the horse or the horse before the cart, wherever you're from. Do not do that.
Absolutely. And Serena, you're not as tech in love as Tamara is. And you're more on my side when it comes to the techie. Like, you're like, girl, what?
Well, I'll say this, because I've done several projects with my father. A lot of this technology and the representatives that come along with it, you know, kind of make my skin crawl, because I see and I witness how many times he was done over by sales reps, or I can do this for you. Just pay me X amount of dollars up front and I'll get you Infusionsoft, or pay me X amount of dollars up front and we'll do ClickFunnels or what have you. And so what we found was a lot of the products that we had, like Tamara mentioned, she got all of the products, but one of the things that all of the products that we had also all overlapped each other. And so that was the other thing that I'm like, wait a minute, Dad, we're paying all of this money and product A and B do the exact same thing. And then if we needed another component, then maybe we can do another product, or bring in another company for maybe $9.99 a month. But we were paying for all of those services that you mentioned, we at least had a solid 3 or 4 of them that we were paying on a monthly basis, then paying a consultant to run it. So in our case, so when you say technology can make me a little sour, absolutely, because I saw how many people were coming with various proposals. It looked good. It was shiny. It was gold. And my father gets excited about working with new people who are hungry. And so it's like, baby, you got to do this one. You got to do this one. We're like, no, these all overlap. And then we mess around, sign a contract with someone, and it's a hot mess. So make sure you do your research, or if you're not that technically sound, then find someone to do it for you so that you're not spending the amount of money we have spent. You're not making the same mistakes we've made. You're not bumping your head against the wall each and every time. And then also make sure you own whatever database product, you own it yourself. Don't keep on going through Joe Blow, because Joe Blow always answers the phone every time you call him. I don't care how many times Joe Blow answers that phone. You make sure that with your database and all those things, that you have those primary passwords, you have the backup password, all of that. You can see. So I get a little bitter. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back. You should not have given me the mic. I have stories for days.
But wait, Serena, it's funny that you mentioned that, because these products do overlap. So that's an important part of the research, seeing what you really need and don't. But Serena, one of the first projects we worked on together was sitting down, going through a long list of vendors, third-party vendors, and saying, hey, we don't need this because these two overlap. And so that is a process. So she is absolutely talking from experience when it comes to that. And you do not want to do that. And I was only able to help her because I had more third-party vendor apps than I had products. So I knew firsthand what she didn't need.
Right. And to be honest, because of your expertise, I think within the first month that you looked at our spreadsheet, we were able to save a good $3,000 just by cutting.
Can you say that aloud for the people in the back?
Listen, because of Tamara Hartley, she helped me save $3,000 a month just by cutting all of these expenses. So as excited as you get to get your business going, to sell a product, to get yourself out there, to have the automated systems, you don't need all of them. Find someone to help you get a solid 1 or 2. And I think after everything was all said and done, we were spending at maybe $500 a month. And that's a maybe.
Right. Yes. Go, Tamara. Go, Tamara. So Jason said that you always recognize that there's always going to be a new solution. So don't get caught up in grabbing the product that hits your scarcity triggers to buy. That's a good one right there, because folks are like, no, I got to get it because this one has it, or that one has it, and that one's promoting it. Look, you have to do what works for you. And Tamara was able to bring down a 3,000 plus bill to 500 because you could see the overlap and you could figure out what you really need at that time and when you need it. So we hope this has been helpful for you. Our Dream Do Done today was really targeted to help you wake up and realize, if you didn't, that we're wrapping up the third quarter. Like we're on the countdown to closing out the third quarter, and this fourth quarter is going to be extremely critical to you setting yourself up for success as we move into 2021. People are like, oh, can 2020 go away? Can we do a do-over? I wanted to move. You don't know what's ahead. So let's deal with what we have now. Okay, let's focus on where we are, move the dreaming to doing so we can get it done, and then ways in which we can show up in our best self as our business and our company, with automation just being one way. We'll discuss some more, and you have a whole library of shows for you to go visit as we're counting down to our 2nd year anniversary. But this information at Dream Do Done is about process to progress. So when we talk about our topics, when we share this information, it's to move you to action, not just laugh with us and at us, because we know you do, but to take the information and to do something with it. So I'm going to turn over our final comments to our Pulpit Chic, Serena Brown Travis, and then to the how-to coach, Tamara Hartley, to close us out for today.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I must say it's been a pleasure again to share with you our experiences, us hitting our heads up against the wall. But more importantly, we hope that the information we've shared with you today can help you continue to prosper during this pandemic. And so thank you so much for sharing your time and your lunch with us. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Absolutely. We hope that you are listening to us because we are being very transparent about where we've been, where we've come to, and just some of the things that we've learned along the way. And I think that is so important. And not everybody's going to show you behind the scenes and talk about some of those trip ups early on in business. So I really hope that it is helping you to make some decisions, helping you to figure out where exactly you need to be and what kind of third-party vendors you need to invest in. But as always, you can keep up with us here every Monday at 1-ish, but also on our website at dreamdodone.com. As we close out this year and start going into next year, we really want to help you get on track. And what better time than to review your finances and see where you're spending monthly, where you don't have to, or to see what you can add to the table to make your next year as great as it can possibly be. So make sure you stay tuned to dreamdodone.com. Stacie talked about our journal. We have some other things we're going to be offering there. So stay with us.
Absolutely. And hey, Roz, yes, catch the replay. We appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.